Do you have no sense of shame at all? Just what do you think you're doing here, Tony?
Huh? What's going on, Valerie? I have no idea why you'd suddenly send me such an aggressive text like that. It's my dad's visitation, right? And the funeral is tomorrow, so I'm not sure what exactly you think is shameless about a son going to his own father's visitation.
Oh, sure. Now you're the loyal and devoted son, are you? Maybe you should have shown your father a little more respect when he was alive. You never came around to visit him, so what makes you think you have any right to pretend like you care about him now?
Never is a bit strong, though I will admit that I haven't been able to get back home as much as I'd like. I presume you're also aware that I didn't have the best of relationships with my father.
Oh yeah, I've heard all about the two of you.
I thought so. My relatives were also well aware of the circumstance surrounding my relationship with my father, and for the record, I've met with my father plenty of times over the years. It just so happened that I mostly saw him at the homes of our relatives who live nearby. Despite the difficulties between us, it's not as if we had cut each other out of our respective lives. And since the visitation and the funeral are, in some sense, a sort of family reunion, I'd say there's no problem at all with me coming here today.
Ugh, you're unbelievable. Like seriously, this is super gross. What are you doing?
I'm sorry, Valerie, but you're going to have to be a bit more specific. What exactly am I doing that's so gross?
Don't think I don't know. It's clear to everyone around you exactly why you're here right now.
And that would be?
Let me put this in the most delicate way I can. A broke high school dropout like you has no right to come to your father's funeral. Do I make myself clear?
Actually, no. I don't really see why being broke or a high school dropout would preclude me from coming to my father's funeral. Care to elaborate?
Do I have to spell it out for you? You're broke. You're a high school dropout. You're just here for money.
Money?
Yes, that's the only reason you bothered to come to the funeral.
You're still not making any sense.
I know that you're desperate to get your share of your dad's inheritance, but guess what? You're not getting any. So get out. There's nothing for you here.
Inheritance? Did you by any chance find my dad's will?
What will?
Yeah, my point exactly. My brother and family told me that my dad passed away quite suddenly and hadn't had the opportunity to put together a will. As such, his inheritance will be split up according to the laws of our state. In other words, how my dad's estate is divided up between his heirs isn't something that I have any power at all to affect. It'll all be carried out automatically by the city government.
If you're trying to confuse me with all that legal jargon, it's not going to work.
All of that was layman's terms. I'm not sure which part you think was jargon.
That's so like a high school dropout. They always use big words they don't understand to sound smarter than they are.
Anyway, I'm planning to be in town until my dad's funeral is over.
Oh yeah? I might just have to have a little chat with your brother about this then.
By all means, go ahead. I've already talked to him and he said I was welcome to come. Conversely, if I were to be absent from the funeral after coming to the visitation tonight, I think that might disturb several of my relatives who are expecting me to come.
Ugh, whatever. Fine, but you need to get out of town immediately. After the funeral is over tomorrow, got it? That's what you get?
Valerie, would you mind explaining why you just dumped a bucket of water all over me?
I may have let you come to the funeral, but a high school dropout has no right to sit in front with the family. You can sit in the back.
You seem like you wouldn't be happy no matter where I sat.
Well, duh. Besides, the visitation is over, and now the funeral is over, so you've got no more reason to stick around. Hurry up and get out of town like I told you to.
As you wish. You can take care of things from here.
And don't you ever show your face around here again.
Tony, I'm so sorry. Hey, Ellen. Thanks for taking care of the funeral today. It was lovely. Where are you right now? In a hotel across the street from the airport. I was planning to stay the night here, so I already had a reservation. My flight isn't until the morning, so I'm just kind of killing time until then. But what's up? Why are you apologising to me all of a sudden? When I heard what happened, I had to apologise. During the funeral service, I looked around and noticed you weren't in your seat anymore. My wife told me that you'd gotten sick and went to the emergency room, and I completely believed her at first. And then at lunch, I was talking to some of our family about you. And they said that Valerie had dumped a bucket of water on you and kicked you out of the church. I'm so sorry it took you so long to realise what had happened. Don't worry about it, Alan. You've got nothing to apologise for. You had more than enough on your plate already with handling all the funeral arrangements. Be that as it may, I still need to take responsibility for what my wife did to you. Again, Tony, I'm so sorry for what happened. Oh, thanks for that, Ellen. Like I said, I don't hold you responsible at all, but it's big of you to come and apologise to me like this. Although I have to say, there's something Valerie said that has me concerned. What did she say? She told me she thought the only reason I came to the funeral was to get my hands on Dad's inheritance. What? I bet that's a big part of the reason why she dumped water on me and kicked me out of the church. What the? How did she get that idea in her head? You're not even Dad's legal heir. Yeah, I was just as confused as you are. I don't know. I guess it would make sense that she didn't know all the details since she only married into the family. But no matter what I said, she refused to listen. She was so upset and excited about the whole thing that I was never able to give her a proper explanation. I see. But in any case, as long as Valerie is angry at me, it seems like my presence there would only cause more trouble than I've already caused. I know it's only been a short time since Dad died, and I hate to force this on you in such a difficult time, but is it alright if I leave everything from here on out to you? Yes, no trouble at all. Leave everything to me. I'm sorry about everything that happened, really, I am. I'll contact you again once things settle down over here. Gotcha. Thanks again, Alan. Talk to you later.
I don't believe you, Tony. What are you doing back in town? I told you to stay away.
Not that it's any of your concern, but I was visiting some old friends of mine.
Liar! You're still after your dad's inheritance, aren't you?
I suppose this has something to do with the fact that there's a meeting with the city about Dad's inheritance today.
Obviously.
Well, I know you have all sorts of things you'd like to say to me right now, but let me save both of us a lot of time. I'm meeting with my friends, and then immediately heading back home.
What?
Valerie, I was trying to tell you back at my dad's funeral, but you're under a huge misunderstanding. Regardless of what you may think, I'm not actually one of my dad's legal heirs.
Wait, you're not?
I think you're aware that while I call Alan my brother, we're technically just stepbrothers, right?
Yeah, I knew that.
Right. So Alan is our dad's son, and I'm our mum's son. So when our parents married, both of us were already adults and had our own established lives. So since there's no need for financial support, I was never legally adopted by my dad. What this means legally, in the same way my brother wasn't entitled to any of my mum's estate when she passed away a few years ago, I'm not entitled to any of my father's estate right now. We were both fully aware of that from the very beginning. And since I have no rights to receive any of my dad's estate, there's no point in me attending the meeting with the city today.
You're not fooling me. You're probably gonna camp out in front of City Hall to beg for money from your brother once the meeting is over.
Why would I do a thing like that? I'm not really hurting financially or anything.
Liar!
I started up a company with a friend of mine 3 years ago. I'm currently serving as vice president of that company.
Vice President?
Not one to toot my own horn, but our company's doing pretty well. I think it's fair to say that I'm in a pretty high income bracket for people my age.
Whoa! That's... really? But how? You dropped out of high school. The only reason you would do that is if you were super dumb. How did someone like you become the vice president of a successful company?
I'd say that's a pretty ignorant view of high school dropouts.
Excuse me?
Sorry, I just got to my friend's house, so I'll be taking my leave here if you don't mind.
Tony, this is your doing, isn't it?
What's the matter, Valerie?
Where are you right now?
In the airport, about to board my plane. Why?
Get back here right now.
Hate to disappoint you, but I'm afraid I can't do that. I've got work tomorrow morning. If I miss this flight, I won't be able to get to the office on time.
Your job isn't what's important right now. My future is what's important. At this rate, I'm gonna be divorced before I get my share of your dad's estate.
Ah, I see.
Is that all you have to say?
If I'm not mistaken, my brother told you he's going to divorce you right before the meeting with the city started, right?
Yes. Now that you know what's going on, hurry up and get your butt over to City Hall right now and fix what you did.
Fix what exactly?
Stop playing innocent. You high school dropouts are all the same. You always use dirty tactics to get what you want. What did you say to my husband? Whatever you said, it got my husband to divorce me. I'm gonna lose my share of his inheritance.
Well, Valerie, I'm afraid to say that you're once again drastically misunderstanding the situation.
How?
Ordinarily, this is a conversation that would be best to have in person, but in your case, I think writing it all out via text will help you understand.
Just spit it out already. What did you do?
I'll explain it step by step, so make sure you read each message thoroughly before moving on to the next one. First of all, about the inheritance. As I mentioned before, my deceased father's only legal heir is my brother, Alan. If my mother was still alive, then she would also be a legal heir as his wife, but she passed away a few years ago. So again, the only legal heir is my brother, Alan.
Aren't you forgetting someone? What about me?
No, I wasn't forgetting anyone. My brother is the only legal heir.
What?
Let me explain this in the absolute simplest possible terms. According to local, state, and federal law, daughters and sons-in-law are not considered to be legal heirs with inheritance rights.
Wait, really?
In the event you're adopted as their legal child or written into their will as an heir, then yeah, you'd be a legal heir with inheritance rights. As far as I'm aware, that didn't happen in your case. So once again, the only legal heir is my brother.
Then why did he divorce me? If I was never gonna get any of the money, then what's the point in divorcing me?
Well, I believe that my brother's divorcing you for reasons that have nothing to do with the inheritance.
Then why?
Speak of the devil. Looks like Alan is trying to call me right now.
Alan? Really?
I'm sorry, but if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take this call. I'll message you when I'm finished. Sorry to keep you waiting, Val. According to my brother, as soon as he told you he was divorcing her, you ran away and locked yourself in your room before he had a chance to give you an explanation as to why. Suppose the reason you text me right now is most likely because you're convinced, for whatever reason, that I'm the one responsible. Correct?
You are responsible. I know it was you. You're just mad at me because you found out you wouldn't get any of your dad's inheritance.
Valerie, please. I wish you'd stop making such brash allegations against me. I already received my mother's inheritance several years ago when she passed away. And my brother is the only person with inheritance rights to our father's estate. Both of us have been well aware of this for quite some time now.
What inheritance? Your mother was so poor you had to drop out of high school to get a job and support her. What inheritance could she have possibly left you?
Well, you're correct about one thing. We definitely had financial difficulties in my childhood years.
I knew it.
However, it was only for my childhood years. After I graduated high school, my mother took an enormous risk and opened her own interior decoration store.
Really?
It's quite successful, and she left me a sizable inheritance when she passed. Actually, that store's now being run by my wife. My mother had been training her up in preparation to take over when she retired.
Oh,
So, as you should now be able to tell, I'm not quite in as hard of financial straits as you are at this point in time.
hey, what's that supposed to mean? You're making it sound like I'm the one who's dirt poor.
I wouldn't make a claim like that without any justification. As I understand it, you have outstanding debts totaling $30,000.
How did you?
Then there's the matter of your infidelity.
My what?
Sorry, allow me to rephrase. My brother is divorcing her because of your affair.
Oh,
He only gave me a basic overview, so I'm a bit sure on the specific details, but from what he said, he seems like he did his homework. You should operate on the assumption that he knows basically everything.
no way. I worked so hard to hide it from him.
It would seem that you left behind a trail of breadcrumbs which Ellen picked up on. Now then, if you'll excuse me,
Wait,
I just heard the call to start boarding my plane, so I'll take my leave here.
but how did... I never thought I'd actually get caught.
Valerie resisted the divorce at first, but she suddenly became much more cooperative right after my brother officially received her father's assets. Come to find out, Valerie was under the false impression that she would be able to receive a share of the inheritance during the divorce proceedings. Her lawyer was burdened with breaking the news to her, but no, assets a spouse receives through inheritance are not subject to property division in the event of a divorce. This came as a terrible shock to Valerie, who had been intending to use that money to finally pay off her debts, as well as soften the blow of my brother's lawsuit against her for infidelity. Faced with this reality, Valerie stormed over to my brother's house and said that she was taking back her consent to the divorce, but it was already too late. The divorce had already been finalised. Not to mention my brother wasn't even at the house because he'd already sold it and moved. After being abandoned by her husband, she tried to run back to the man she was cheating with, but he turned her away. She then went to her parents, who also turned her away. She's now living in a run-down subsidised apartment, working multiple part-time jobs, and gradually chipping away at her multiple sources of debt, while barely managing to scrape by.